Hello everyone, my Studio 3's project is a quest-driven online multiplayer puzzle game. I will talk about the development progress in this video. This is the starting scene of my project with a layer of fog on it, because I wanted to create a way for the camera move forward where the wave goes from a blur in the distance to a clear nearness. Now run this first scene. You can see that the scene is moving forward in the camera wave. There is a background sound during the movement, and when you click any button, there will be an option to start the game and read the archival. And there are sound effects and UI click feedback when you click. All this is implemented by code compilation and NGUI add-on. The code allows the camera to implement an animation that moves forward like starting scene. When the player chooses to create a new game, they will be transported to this scene, which exists to allow the player to create a new character and have the basic setup for the character. Now let's run it. You can see that in this scene, we can switch between the characters and name the characters we are operating. After clicking OK again, we will enter the next scene. In order to add new characters in better iteration in the future, the code improves and implements this function now. When you need to modify the value of size and just drag the character model into the bottom and you are done. This is a game running scene after the player has finished creating a new character and reading the archive. Player will be transported to this scene. Now let's run it. The player can move his character by clicking on the ground with the left mouse button. The middle mouse button will control the zoom of the game's perspective, and the right mouse button can move the perspective, like right, left, up and down. The reason why I didn't choose to switch the viewpoint by moving the mouse left and right is because I found that if I use the mouse to move left and right like FPS game setting, it will make the player feel dizzy, which is obviously not what a puzzle game needs. So I adapt this design to control the viewpoint by pressing the button. I have created a simple quest to demonstrate the quest system of the game. When the player clicks on an NPC, a dialog box pops up with the task to be completed. For example, here, when I click on this NPC, I can see the dialog pops up. When I click on Cancel, this task will not be received by the player. When the player accepts the task, the progress of the task will be displayed. Because I have not completed the hostile system setup, there is no way to demonstrate the fighting process, but we can observe the composition of the mission system by adjusting it. If I change the status to 8, it shows on quest, and when not all tasks are completed, click OK. The dialog box will disappear. When the player finished, click OK. The mission will be reset, and the player will receive the mission reward. I will introduce the cheat system in the game. It's implemented by editing behavior tree. Because of the iterative process, there are two situations. I think the wall is not able to resist the ghost, but in actual game scene, we'll also have a room for investigating clues. So here I just assume that there is indeed such a room, and the player might think I'm safe. But in fact, the ghosts still know you are here, and just like this situation now. Or maybe it could be the other way around, pushing the wall down to smash the ghost the combat system is still being versioned. I will use another situation to explain. In general, we can see this enemy capsule is patrolling around the fixed point. When the player control characters moves to the enemy's field of view, enemy will switch to the task of hunting the player. And when the player escapes from the field of view, the enemy will stop hunting and return to the original patrol route. The chasing system will be an important part of the puzzle game, creating tension and giving the player the motivation to save the game world. Subsequent iterations will use behavior designer to design more intelligent AI. Now I will demonstrate the process of guiding the puzzle-solving mechanic. You can see a red rabbit, which is different from the white rabbit that keep attracting attention in front of enemies and then hide. You can see the player control the red rabbit just get out of the enemy chase and try to find clues. When the player turns the corner, the player sees an NPC. The NPC suggests that you can find a way to stop being afraid of the enemy because the enemy is trying to attack you. There is a small room that seems to be used for exploration to gather information. When you click on each item, a pop-up tip will inform the purpose. Players can be guided through this tutorial guided room and explore step by step until the player obtains a way to open the treasure chest. I will also gradually increase the difficulty in the subsequent development and try to get the process of guiding tools through different ways of solving puzzles. There are still a lot of iterations needed for this project. The first is the unification of the art style. The second is the need to complete the compilation of the mission plot and the classification of the mission. There are some functional systems need to be added in the subsequent development, such as item and trade system, equipment and skill system, enemies and combat system, and also Beautify Online framework build. The current difficulties in this project like compilation of task lines, also confusion about storage state, whether to read in the cloud or locally. More information about this project can be found in the PDF file. Thank you for your watching.